Welcome, everyone. I can't see you out there, but welcome to our February 1st, 2023 board meeting. Time flies, doesn't it? It's just hard for me to imagine. We welcome you. We've got a full board and a full meeting tonight. We're glad that everyone could come and join us. We're going to start out tonight with the Weber High School Chamber Choir performing Orange Colored Sky, directed by Lee Marriott. And as soon as they are finished up, if everyone will stand, we'll have a Pledge of Allegiance, and that will be led by Aaron Jones, also a Weber High student.
Struck me, the thunder roared, but baby, I've never felt like this before. It went too flash, it went too bam, Alakazam.
Don't look the cover, I love you like no other, I'll take good care of you.
One look and I yell timber, watch out for flying glass, 'cause the ceiling fell in and the bottom fell out, I began to spin and I started to shout and hit. This is it, how I was walking along, minding my business, when love came and hit me in the eye. It went flash, bam, Alakazam, I'm an orange colored, purple striped, pretty green polka dotted star. Flash, bam, Alakazam. It's good night. Oh yeah.
Can we stand for the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Aaron, for leading us in that, and thank you again, Chamber Choir, for that wonderful performance. Let's give them one more round of applause. And thank you. You're welcome to stay to the board meeting, but if I was a high school student, I know what my choice would be. But thanks for coming. You've done an excellent job. Board, the first item on our agenda tonight would be a motion to approve the consent calendar. Could I get moved on that? Doug, for a second. Bruce, those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Wonderful. Thank you. Next item, Mr. Matt Williams, a presentation of the proposed fee schedule for the 23-24 school year on a first reading, please.
Good evening, Superintendent Butters and board, President Woodison. Just want to give you some information on the proposed fee schedule for next year. And we've done quite a bit of work. I have to recognize Mrs. Carrie Meyerhofer, who has helped tremendously with this through the process. We've met multiple times, and a lot of the work that we've been doing is clarifying things so that there's a lot more transparency in the fee schedule as it's changed a little bit over the years, the last couple of years. So the District Fees Committee is seeking Board of Education approval on the school fees and spend plan for the 23-24 school year. We're asking for the board to acknowledge the suggested changes made to these fee schedules. You'll find changes indicated in red or crossed out on the schedules. This information you're viewing was gathered by working with the Fees Committee, who in return shared information with their schools and departments for feedback. The meeting is also open to public comment. For your information, changes have been made to all of the 23-24 school fees scheduled to align with state policies. The District Fees Committee believes this updated fee schedule and spend plan creates transparency for the schools, students, and communities. It also creates equity for all students. And based on this information, the Weber School Fees Committee is requesting the board to review and acknowledge the suggested changes for the 23-24 school year fee schedule for a first reading.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Williams.
You bet.
Board, do you have any questions?
I have a couple questions.
Yeah.
Just because I'm new. The out-of-state tuition fee, can you explain that to me? That's one that I'm not familiar with. I know that it changed, which I'm less concerned about than just curious as to what that is.
Yeah, so, and Jan Burrell could probably jump in. This is down her wheelhouse, but there is a fee charged for students who come to this state to go to school where their parents are residing somewhere else, and they want to attend school here. And that's that out-of-state fee that they would pay. Jan?
So that always goes through student services.
Correct.
And there are a fair amount of requests, particularly during COVID, that happened more often than maybe it's happening now, for kids to go to in-person school in our school district. And as you well know, it's expensive to educate a student in the state of Utah, and we get no funding from that. And so they're charged an out-of-state fee that's commensurate with the pupil rate that happens.
I
Great.
had one more question.
Okay.
So thank you for
No,
that.
that makes perfect sense. Under the instructional supply fee, again, these aren't changes. I'm just curious because
You bet.
I was unfamiliar. So we have $35 instructional supplies for both junior high and high school, and then a $17.50 for charter, online, private, and homeschool students. So I guess I don't know how that works.
Those aren't
So-
changes.
No,
that
they're
are
not
proposed
changes. They're just, so if we have students that are also enrolled in charter, online, private, or homeschool that come and attend our school district part-time? Or is that they're just charged half fee for
That's
instructional
correct.
supplies?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right. Just because they don't attend full-time, so it's a smaller fee for them to come and be a part of that, where we can compensate some fees for them.
Can I make a comment? I questioned quite heavily on many of these. I went and asked Matt and worked with him and Ms. Meyerhofer, as well as, I'm sorry, I can't come up with the name right now. But they explained it so clearly, and I can't compliment them enough for how intentional they are about making the fees equitable across all and calling a fee the same thing in every school. So I have to compliment them for being so intentional about that, and then for providing the information in such a clear-cut format.
Thank you, Ms. Burrow. We, like I said, a lot of the work we did was to get schools on the same page so that we are using the same terminology for classes, so that those fees that are the same from school to school. So a lot of the work was done with our CTE department that met so that we would name the class the same, and then the fee would be the same at all of our high schools. And so there was a lot of work done by Dr. Belknap and Trevor Ward that helped out as we tried to make it so that it was consistent.
And I think that's going to be an ongoing process
Absolutely.
for long beyond me and long beyond anybody in this room. It's always going to be a process. So thank you for continuing that effort.
Okay.
Thank you, Matt. Board, realizing that this is just the first reading of this and that there will be subsequent readings, I would look for a motion to approve this as a first reading.
I would make that motion that we
Thanks.
approve this as a first meeting on the fees schedule.
Thanks, Jan. And second, Janice, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed to that? Okay, as part of that proposal read by Mr. Williams, we have some time to open up as a public meeting. Pam, has anybody signed up? Okay. Is there anyone in attendance here tonight that would like to comment on that proposed fee schedule and the things Matt presented to us? If not, we'll move along. Thank you. Let's move into some recognitions. Mr. Brock Mitchell.
President Widdowson, Superintendent Butters, Board. I've had a few opportunities to be up here this year, and without a doubt, this is the exciting part of the presentations I get. I'd like to ask Julie Rasmussen to come up and stand up here with me as she would. So I get the honor to recognize Julie as the I Love Teaching Award recipient for this month. Julie is a science teacher at Weber Innovation High School. She does an excellent job within her classroom. Weber Innovation has a unique model to its school. And so to be able to go out and see her teach and the number of students that flock to her classroom is pretty impressive. When I first got in this position, Matt and I went out, and I remember walking in with the principal, Hal Raymond, and in some classes you'd see 2 or 3 kids working with their teachers because of the free flow model. As we went into Julie's room, and I'm not sure if she even remembers us coming in, the class was full. The class was absolutely full, and just to see her engaged with those students was pretty cool. So, Trent, I swear, there we go. I'm figuring this thing out. So just a little bit of background of Julie. She spent 2 years at Bountiful Junior High School. She was also in our district at Fremont High School for 2 years. She's worked with Utah Electronic High School for 10 years and has been at Weber Innovation for 7 years since the school opened. And that's something that is a pretty prestigious thing because it's a brand new idea to our district at the time, and she helped cultivate that and bring to life what that school is now. And that's something that was recognized many times over in the conversations I had with her colleagues at the school. There we go. The unique situation with these awards is they're nominated by the principals, right, or colleagues, and I think it was important to understand why Julie was recognized for this. So I wanted to point out a few things that Hal Raymond had to say about Julie. Julie has helped shape our unique personalized learning model, always with student success in mind. And that's something that came up over and over. She's brilliant in her thoughts and a critical collaborative member of the PLC process. That's something in our district that we cherish, and we're continuing to grow, and to have great teachers already bought in and leading that within her school just helps us further that work. Julie goes to high schools to provide hands-on experiences for her 9th grade students. So Weber Innovation High School is unique in that high school caters to 9th graders as well. And Julie travels to those junior highs and works individually with those students to still provide them that science education. And that's not something that happens district-wide. It's very unique, and Julie's the one that has taken that on. And we've seen great growth in our Weber Innovation because of some of those roots that she's planted in our junior highs. She has consistent positive energy towards students and staff, and she's a lead teacher who helps develop capacity in her colleagues with training. And I think that, beyond what she does with students, says a lot about Julie, is the fact that she's willing to work with her colleagues. I talked with a number of students, and so some of their reactions to her, when we mentioned that she was getting this award, it was just a light in their eyes because they were so excited for her. Many of them said, I love her. I enjoy being in her classes. So just little pieces of praise. But they also said, Mrs. Rasmussen takes time to connect with us as people, and that makes me want to spend time in her room. When I see her in the hallway, she says hi and asks how my day is going. She's always so happy, and I can tell she loves her job. I am excited to be in her class. And Ms. Rasmussen takes an interest in me and my future. She talks to us about more than just school, which isn't always the case in some schools. Notice none of that talks about how good she is as a teacher. That talks about how good she is as a person and builds those relationships. And that's why those kids flock to her. And that is a skill in itself in an educator. These are just a few pictures we were able to get of Julie. You can see because of the free flow model, it allows some of that small group collaborative work, but it allows her to get in there and have those one-on-one, in-depth conversations and guiding these students. A few more reactions from the students. When I need help, she responds quickly and works around her schedule to make sure I have a chance to come in and get help. Again, because of this free flow model, the students can come and go. And this student wanted to point out that within a very short amount of time, Ms. Rasmussen gets back with her, sets up a time for the student to come in, and is always willing to help out. She knows how to teach all students and can reteach in a new way if I struggle. This helps because I don't always learn it the first time. I think that's a skill that our teachers are always looking to get better at, because louder isn't teaching it differently, right? And so to be able to reteach it in a different way to help those students make a different connection, that's the sign of a veteran and a very skilled teacher. Her assignments and activities are fun and make science interesting. I've thought about majoring in chemistry because of some of the things we've done in class. And Ms. Rasmussen will get to spend time. We'll get to spend time with my small friend group teaching and reviewing to give us the attention we need to be successful. So again, allows her to bring those kids together and work individually with those. So it shows, again, just the willingness she puts into her students, both connecting personally and then helping them be successful in her classes. The next part, I sent out an email to Julie, just telling her that she won this award. Mr. Raymond forwarded it on to her staff. It was incredible, the number of replies that I got because of the reply all feature that congratulated her. Easily double digits, just sharing her praise. I then asked for feedback from her staff. I'm going to give those to you. I didn't have time to put them all in here, but I think it was really cool to see what they had to say about you. So I wanted to include a couple of these. So these are all from her colleagues. She goes above and beyond with the time she spends supporting fellow teachers and students. She likes things done right and is willing to put in the time to achieve the expectations that she sets for herself. And these are all from different people. She's always willing to help out in any way she can and takes, sorry, that graphic got in the way, so many extra responsibilities for the school. This was from the head secretary. She also mentioned that she started at the same time with the head secretary, and Julie was willing to go down to the office and cover the office so the secretary could actually take a lunch, right? And we don't see that all the time from our teachers. Her calm demeanor makes her very approachable to both students and staff. She's such a caring, brilliant, creative person and teacher. In fact, she is the teacher that is mentioned the most in our students' speeches at graduation. And the students know that she cares and she's willing to help them no matter what. She gives all her time, all her energy into helping her students be successful. And then the last few. Of all of Julie's amazing talents, my favorite is she loves solving problems with her gentle, peaceful nature. Never rattled, the biggest challenge seems to be bring a sparkle to Julie's eyes as she welcomes the opportunity to lighten the load of another by finding the best solution. She's always wanting feedback and advice from others about how to solve problems. That's a pretty special skill in a teacher. A lot of times teachers teach in silos. The fact that she's willing to go look for feedback is special. It really is special. She values the input of others and takes everything to heart. Her willingness to reach out and include others is one thing that stands out most to me. And when she asks how I'm doing, I know it isn't just a normal greeting. She's literally asking how I'm doing. I am new, and she genuinely wants to know how I'm adapting and if I'm getting the hang of things. That's pretty special. This was my favorite part, though. This email is the email that Julie sent back to her colleagues. And I think this says a lot about her and what she means to the school. I find myself part of something that is bigger than I am alone. We are modern pioneers of education. I am in awe daily at the success of our students and the opportunities that are before them. I am honored to accept the award and see it as a win for all of us. Go Ravens. So, board, I want to recognize and congratulate Julie Rasmussen, the recipient of the I Love Teaching Award.
Oh my goodness, he's let me have the mic. You don't know how I love to talk. He might have done something bad here. Brock asked me to introduce who came with me today. And so my husband came, and 2 of my 3 children. So
Yeah,
Greg
raise your hands or stand up so we can see you, please.
And 2 of my 3 children, Tori attends Weber Innovation, where I teach at also, and Miranda attends Walquist Junior High. And then my sister, Angie, came, and my other sister, Marin, and her husband and little boy.
Very good.
A lot of support. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Rasmussen. The next one, Mary Jo Williams, please.
Superintendent Butters, President Widdowson, and Board, I am very privileged tonight to present to you a volunteer award for Mr. Lynn Walker. If I could have him stand up and come on over. Are you good to just stand here? Oh, yeah. Okay. All right, so we're going to get to know just a little bit about Mr. Walker and what he does at Valley View Elementary. So you can see him here in this first picture with some of the students and with the principal and one of our teachers. All right, we're going to tell you a little bit about some of his history, though, before he came to us as a volunteer. So, as you can see at the top, it says, a hero is someone who has given his or her life to something bigger than oneself. Mr. Walker has served in the United States Air Force. He joined in 1968 and served 3 tours in the Vietnam War. He flew aboard the C-130 Hercules airplane performing special ops, did a number of search and rescue missions in Alaska, Okinawa, Israel, and Egypt, so we want to thank him for his service. In 2014, Mr. Walker was asked to fill in as an AmeriCorps reading aide at Valley View Elementary. That's where his journey started as a volunteer. Even when that program was discontinued at the school, he continued to come and still volunteers 2 days a week at Valley View. He reads with our first grade students and works specifically on literacy skills with them. Are you saving me back there? I didn't touch it that time. Can we go back? And then the next one? Okay. I guess that is the next one then. Mr. Nestoriak, who is the administrator at Valley View, says Mr. Walker makes each individual child his priority during the few minutes they spend together reading. The students love Mr. Walker. So I'm certain that it's just not the literacy skills that these students appreciate and are learning from Mr. Walker, but they know that there's someone there who cares about them and asks them questions about their daily life, and then also helps them become better at reading. This is his why. I love to see students progress both academically and with their personalities. I feel lucky I get to be the person who gets to be in the moment with them. It keeps me going. If it wasn't for the volunteering, I'd be lost. I wouldn't have anything to do. I enjoy the kids. Here's what some of the students had to say about Mr. Walker. Abby, he helps me to know what sentences mean. I'm learning how to read. Scarlett, he helps me work hard. I'm learning my sight words. Evelyn, he is really nice. I like reading because of him. What a great foundation. Geo, Mr. Walker is teaching me words. He times me so I know how many words I can read in 1 minute. And Peyton, he helps me learn sight words. Mr. Walker is good at his job. And then Riker, he always talks to me. He cares about how I am doing. So, Mr. Walker, we would like to say thank you for volunteering your time with our students to help them not only progress in reading, but to become the little individuals that they are. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And could I ask you to just introduce who you have here with you tonight, and maybe you had some who weren't able to be here too.
Oh, let's see. I have a number of teachers, Scarlett's mother. I have my daughter and my one grandson, and the principal and Mrs. Woodward. She's the first grade teacher I've been working with. I appreciate you guys letting me do it.
Do you want to have some of that?
Mr. Walker, thank you again. What a tremendous impact you've had on so many lives, and thank you for that. What a legacy. Continuing on, presentation from Kim Irvine, Do the Right Thing contest. Sorry, I lost my line there.
Don't you love board meetings? I mean, it's just a positive affirmation to just be here. And this is another happy celebration. So I'd like to ask Parker and Peter to come join me up here. These are our two national finalists for the Do the Right Thing contest. And we're really excited because both of them came from South Ogden Junior High and Weber School District. So I'd like to pause for just a moment because we have a member from the USBE here that sponsors this contest, Mr. Kumwin, and he's going to explain it.
Thank you, Mr. Irvine. Good evening, board member. My name is Kun Win. I am a prevention specialist with the Utah State Board of Education. On the budget line item, that's what I do, and then the non-budget line item is the Do the Right Thing coordinator. Just a brief history of what the program is. I've been involved with this program since 2008. The program is sponsored by the state of Kuwait and the United States during the first Gulf War, how United States helped Kuwait during that one. So then part of the repaying a token of appreciation of the U.S. helping the state of Kuwait, they institute a program to institute at the 7th and 8th grade young people to talk about their experience with violence, what causes it, and then proposing a way to resolve those issues, pretty much how to institute world peace, right? And so that program, our Utah adopted since 2001, and then I involved with that since 2008, and it's come with me ever since. Part of the program is to encourage 7th and 8th grade. We invite 7th and 8th grade to write about their experience with violence, the cause, and solutions to that. I organize statewide and collect those essays. We send it to college students to read the first round. Each of those essays read by 3 times by 3 college students. And then from that, we select the top boys and girls per school as a state finalist. And then from all of those essays, we collect the top 12 boys and 12 girls sent to the VIP judges. Without knowing who those students are, they have the privilege of picking the top boys and top girls, and that's what we are here today to present to them. And we cannot do this without the help from the local school district, and Ms. Irvine has been a champion advocating this program, so I could not have done this without Ms. Irvine, so I traveled from Salt Lake down here just to see Ms. Irvine, so the time is you. Thank you for your support.
Thank you. The celebration here today is actually about these two incredibly talented writers. And there are 4 prompts to this question, to this essay prompt. And the first one is, what is youth violence? And these students spend time researching this, thinking about their own life experiences, having really powerful discussions about this. The second thing that they have to answer in this prompt is what causes youth violence. The third thing is, how has youth violence affected my life? Some of these conversations get really poignant and emotional, and it's really interesting to watch these students come together and join in an understanding that they wouldn't have without sharing these kind of powerful experiences. The thing that was really exciting is there were hundreds and hundreds of essays submitted. Parker and Peter's essays were chosen as the top in the state for both of them, and as national finalists, they win a trip to Washington, D.C. with their parents and their teacher, and it was a lot of fun. It was so much fun. I was so proud of them, but I'd like to pause for a minute and have these 2 young, wonderful authors come up and just talk briefly about their experiences and what they learned in this wonderful competition.
I initially entered this contest not knowing what it was for. I have learned so much since then. It was so eye-opening to hear and learn about other stories, and it really proved that in the end, kindness and love will always win. I not only learned this important lesson, as I learned so much about myself. I learned to talk through my feelings, big and small. I learned that almost every time you go through something that makes you feel so out of place, you're not alone. And there are many others who have either been through or are currently going through the same things.
According to the IBIS, one of the leading causes of death from 10 to 17-year-olds is suicide. Youth violence is a lot of things, but one of the most extreme is depression. I wrote my essay to educate more people on the very serious disease. But along the way, I learned a lot more different types of youth violence. But in the end, I think if there's one thing that I can take away, it's important to listen to students and take action while you still can.
It's wonderful that we get a chance to celebrate these two writers at the district level, because this kind of writing prowess does not happen in a vacuum. It doesn't happen in 1 year of instruction. This is a celebration of all of the wonderful instruction they've had, K through 12, in this district. And so I'd like to share one quick story. Part of the celebration that they have in Washington, D.C. is these two representatives are now called Ambassadors of Peace for a year. I love that title. And as part of that, they get to meet our representatives at the federal level. And so we got a chance to meet Mitt Romney. And I was super proud of them when Mitt Romney asked them, "What is this all about?" And they both stood up and said something just about as powerful as what they just said right now. So we're really excited. We have copies of the book that the state puts together of all of the state finalists for each of you. And then we have a special presentation for the superintendent. This is the book of all of the top state 2 finalists that is inducted into the Library of Congress, which is a really fun ceremony to watch. And then when we were at the Library of Congress bookstore, we bought this little mantra because we all believe this. This is from Thomas Jefferson, who we lovingly refer to as TJ. And he says, "I cannot live without books." And so this is for our superintendent, and we have copies of their essays for all of you. Would you like to?
Ms. Irvine, will you have Parker and Peter introduce have their families or parents here real quick? And then we'll have you come up here and shake all of our hands, please. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm here with my mom and my dad.
Mom, stand up, and Dad, thank you. Well done.
I am also here with my mom and my dad.
Thank you, thank you. That's outstanding. Let's give them one more hand of applause, please. Thank you. And moving to the next one, Mr. Patterson.
President Widdowson, can I just interject one thing? Just
Absolutely.
We're having him kind of stand up cold here, but I want to give just a little context. We've decided, and with the board's approval, to once in a while feature a school principal, administrator, so that you can kind of get a feel for some of the great things going on in our schools. And so we've asked Matt to head up that charge tonight and be the lead, and we appreciate his time and his effort in this preparation. So welcome, Matt.
Superintendent Butters and board, thank you for the opportunity. It's been a minute. I had the opportunity to present in front of this group when I was in curriculum quite often, and so, but I don't know, it still make me nervous. So I will.
We changed the room just for you.
Yeah, this is a little more ominous. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's still way more official. It's actually awesome. No, we're really excited about sharing some of the successes at Orion. We sorry, you guys probably know this about me. I'm just emotional. We just love kids, and a few years back we realized that we have a population of kids that just need some attention and to pay attention to their individual needs. And so we started looking at data. We started looking at kids. Trent, I'm just going to have you do your thing since that looked weird before. So, yeah, that means now. Okay. I'm gonna actually draw your attention to the young man off to the right there. He's a really cool young man. He came to us this fall from the country of Chile and didn't speak any English when he walked through our doors. But he has a huge smile on his face and he tries. And but we've been able to capture this young man. His name's Ian, and he is learning English and integrating into our school. And matter of fact, just the other day, Mr. Pearl and I, we actually had a chance to talk about lunch and what was for lunch, and to hear him speak in English about that experience that he was going to have in a few minutes was awesome. But a couple of things that have led to our success is one of it's my little bit of a motto that I went into Orion with, is that I wanted every student to have a name, a face, a voice, and a purpose. And that's important because I think that's why a kid would want to walk into a building if they feel each one of those things, that they hear their names, they see their face, or people recognize their face, and they have a voice for who they are, and they have a purpose for being there. And so a lot of times our kids that don't speak English well kind of don't always feel those 4 areas. The other thing we do is we ask every one of our key staff members to identify our students that are MLL designated. And we do that at the beginning of the year. It's one of the non-negotiables. You need to know who these kids are in your class and identify them and be aware of their needs. The WIDA testing is an important piece of data for us. So we put that WIDA test results in front of our staff, and there's an amazing data that shows us where our strengths and weaknesses, and I'll spend a little bit more time with the testing results here in just a minute. And then obviously it's in bold, and I think this is a really important piece that I think is important to Orion, but I would say it was important in any school, as strategic staff. We've hired a student advocate / EL aide, and her name is Mariana Martinez. And she speaks obviously Spanish, but she also speaks the culture. And she has found a way to really interact with our students and to show the value of being there. And then it also works with our parents in a way that's unique. She's also unique that she was also a formal MLL student. So when she came to this country in 8th grade, she did not have any support, and so she struggled all the way through her middle school and high school experience, and so she desperately wants to give back to these kids, and so she is an amazing advocate, and the work she does is unparalleled. I want to make sure I give her a shout out. We also help the students understand the WIDA testing, so we want to help them understand the data, and help them put their best forward effort. We realize a lot of our kids they don't take that test very seriously, so therefore they never actually progress or even test out of the program, which a lot of them do well and can do well. And we do a lot of training and support of our teachers to focus on the essential standards, and so we focus on the essentials. We can't teach these kids everything, so we focus on the most important things in English, and that's an important piece. And then we also focus really heavily on a multi-tiered systems of support. We focus on tier 1 interventions and then track those kids and target interventions as they go through as struggling learners. And we don't do that for just our MLL students. We do that for all of our students. and we're seeing some tremendous success for all those populations that struggle and give them the extra support. So here's a quick snapshot. This is just from the WIDA testing site. This is not for a specific student, but this gives you kind of an idea of the results we have. And so we can see from a student that takes this test where their strengths and weaknesses are. For example, this student would be stronger in writing, but in the other areas would be a struggle. So when we look at this data as a staff, we can say, hey, this kid can write really well or at least writes proficiently in English, but if you're saying or speaking to this student, they're probably not going to understand. So that allows us to change the way that we approach that student in our classroom environment and offer the specific supports to that student. And so this gives us an idea. That's why we want to put this data in front of our teachers, and so they can really make some informed decisions, and even more importantly, put that in front of our students so they can understand where their strengths and weaknesses are at, which is huge. Yeah, Trent? And so we also break this down a little bit further in their proficiency levels, and this is a rank from 1 to 6. And so and then there's different indicators based upon what this kid can do based upon their information. This is the same information on that same mock student here. So you can see that that level 3, there's more details or more intense interventions will need to be provided the lower that student is on that score. And this actually gives us some really good data to make some informed decisions about this kid. So spending time with this information is critical to helping these kids advance. And if you get a chance, there's also some more detailed descriptions on the links at the bottom of the slide. Yeah, go ahead. So then we decided what was next. And Trent, go ahead and switch to that spreadsheet if you don't mind. It's awesome. I need one of these personal assistants more often. So what we've done, this is kind of our next step. And so as Ben and I looked at individual students and working closely with Mariana, we took that same testing data from the WIDA testing and we put this in a spreadsheet because we desperately know that if we can focus on the individual child and individually where they're at and get this data to the right people, we can change the trajectory. And so what this chart is, and I know there's a lot of numbers there, but basically the larger the number, the more proficient they are in those areas. The lower the number, the more deficient they are. And so we have a full snapshot. This is our 7th grade list. So these are all our 7th graders that are in the MLL program at our school. And then we can look and say in one quick snapshot where those kids fall and how to make adjustments, and then which kids are in monitor status, which ones do we feel like that can really progress quickly. And so this allows us to prioritize these students in a great way. And so we've seen some great success. We've seen a lot of kids progress in this area, and we've been recognized that in our state testing and being able to recognize that growth. And we're excited to see even more growth. We have no doubt that these kids are going to not only be better, more proficient in the English language, but more importantly, they're going to be successful students in Weber School District and beyond. The kids, we're having dialogue with the kids about going to college and bettering themselves and changing the trajectories of their lives. That's the emotional piece, is you see a kid that is not just marginalized and not being recognized with their name, their face, their voice, their purpose, but you see them excited to be there, like Ian, that wants to come to school, that shows up every day, that they see the success. That's what this is about, the individual kid. And so that's my presentation, but what questions do you have? Throw them at me.
Board, go ahead.
I don't have a question necessarily, but I just want to say I'm on my 9th year of having kids in Orion straight, my 5th year working with Matt at Orion, and I just want to say he does care 100% about every student, those 1,000 students that walk through that door every day, and that's what's something special about both him and Ben over there. So I really, really appreciate that from both of them. And I will attest to the fact that they're multi-tiered systems of support. They've got it on whiteboards all over the room. They really do. They're tracking those kids and they care about those kids, and it's something special. And Mariana, our student advocate, she's amazing. She heads up our Latinos in Action, which I know has been really successful at Orion. And I love to see her out with the students on the assembly. She dances with them when they come out and do their dances. So I just want to thank both Matt and Ben. And Matt's seen me through the good times and the not so great times with my kids at Orion. So they are awesome, and I just want to thank you guys for all you do.
Thanks. Thanks, Matt. Well done. Next item, back to Mr. Williams on approval of the school calendar 2023-2024 on a second reading, please.
I don't know how to not get invited to do these things, so maybe I'll talk to Ms. Butters and see if we can't fix that. But Superintendent Butters, President Woodison, and Board, as you are aware, on January 4th, we did the first reading for the calendar for the 23-24 school year. We met multiple times, including school administration, district administration, parents, PTSA, WEA, classified employees, and teachers. They were all included and able to give input. We chose 2 calendar choices and then put it out to vote with our employees, as you remember. And based on that input, the committee would like to recommend that on the second reading, that the calendar option be approved for the final reading for next school year.
Did you have any comment for 30 days?
No. Had questions about when spring break was going to be, when fall break would be, those kind of things, but no comments or changes.
Okay. Wonderful, thank you. Board, we would entertain a motion to accept the school calendar 2023-2024 on a second reading, please. John and Jen, thank you. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed to that? Thank you. Let's see, Dr. Peterson, approval of a land purchase adjacent to the Westfield High School for water drainage.
Thank you, President. As explained in board meeting by our facilities director, Larry Hadley, we are purchasing a piece of property north of our high school site, Westfield High, for the purpose of putting a drainage pipe through. And the drainage pipe, as you know, will go north and drain excess water, and it's needed desperately. With all this moisture we've been having, the work is somewhat stalled and isn't progressing as fast as it could be. We're still going to finish the building on time, but it could become a problem. And so Larry's been on it since last August, and you heard the explanation and in our study session. I would ask that you approve this land purchase.
Wonderful. Any further questions for Dr. Peterson or Mr. Hadley on that? We'll look for a motion then to approve the purchase of the land adjacent to the Westfield High School.
I'll second.
Bruce and Kelly for the second. No further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thanks, Dr. Peterson. We've come to the point where we need to dismiss and go into a closed session to discuss some litigation issues and the character, professional competence, or physical health of an individual. Dr. Peterson, roll call.
Okay, thank you. When I call your name, say yes or no to go to move to a closed executive session. Kelly.
Yes.
Jan.
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
Janice. Doug. John.
Yes.
And Paul.
Yes.
Very good.
Thanks, everyone.